Sometimes a title is just a title, but other times, it's everything. Think about it. A house crumbles, a family line dies out, and a mind completely shatters. Edgar Allan Poe managed to pack all of that into just 5 words. Today, we're going to dive deep into the title The Fall of the House of Usher and uncover the absolute genius hidden right there in plain sight. So, what does a title really tell you? I mean, a lot of the time, not much, right? It's just a name. But when you're talking about a master of atmosphere like Edgar Allan Poe, a title is so much more than just a label. It's basically the blueprint for the entire nightmare he's about to drag you into. And The Fall of the House of Usher sounds pretty straightforward at first, doesn't it? You hear that and you think, okay, a building is going to fall down. But that's the trick. This title is actually this incredible piece of literary engineering. It's designed to tell 3 completely different stories of collapse, all happening at the exact same time. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to explore those hidden depths. Let's break down how this one simple phrase is telling 3 totally distinct, but also deeply connected, stories of total collapse. The key to all of this is something called a double entendre. It's basically when a word or a phrase has multiple meanings. And in this title, Poe uses it brilliantly. The words house and fall are both pulling double, maybe even triple duty here. So yeah, let's unpack this. All right, so let's start with the most obvious meaning, the one you'd think of first. We're talking about the literal, physical collapse of the Usher family's creepy old mansion. So first up, the House of Usher is, well, it's a house. It's a literal, physical building. This big, gloomy, gothic mansion that's been sitting out in the middle of nowhere for centuries. Just rotten. And man, does Poe paint a grim picture of this place. It's totally isolated, there's this gross, pestilent vapor hanging in the air, and it's surrounded by a dark, murky lake. But here's the most important detail. The narrator spots this tiny little fissure, a barely perceptible crack that runs right down the front of the house. You gotta remember that crack. Seriously, it is the key to everything. And sure enough, at the very end of the story, that little crack gives way. The whole house literally splits in 2 and collapses right into that murky lake, gone forever. So there you have it, that's fall number 1, the actual physical destruction of the mansion. Okay, but the building collapsing, that's just the beginning. See, in Poe's world, a house isn't just made of wood and stone, it's also made of blood and bone. This is where it gets interesting. The House of Usher also means the family itself, the bloodline, the entire dynasty. It's just like when we talk about the House of Windsor in England, or, hey, even the House of Stark from Game of Thrones. It's all about that family line. And you won't be surprised to hear that the Usher family line is just as messed up and decayed as their home. This is an ancient family, right? But they've been so isolated for so long, their lineage is basically just turned in on itself. By the time we get there are only 2 of them left. The twins, Roderick and Madeline. And in that absolutely terrifying finale, what happens? Both twins die. And with them, the entire family line just ends. It's extinguished, gone forever. That, my friends, is fall number 2, the end of the Usher dynasty. And get this, it happens at the exact same moment the physical house collapses. All right, we've had the building, and we've had the family. Now we get to the 3rd layer, and honestly, this is the most chilling one of all. This is where the house stops being a building or a family and becomes a map of a human mind as it completely falls apart. Because you see, the 3rd House of Usher isn't physical at all. It's the mind of Roderick Usher. The whole estate, the building, the grounds, everything. It's all just a giant metaphor for his own psyche as it fractures and breaks. I mean, the parallels here are just uncanny. The gloomy, oppressive atmosphere of the house, that is Roderick's suffocating depression. That pestilent vapor hanging in the air, that's his psychological torment. And that tiny little fissure we talked about, you guessed it, that's the crack in Roderick's own sanity. And it's getting wider and wider until he finally completely breaks. But it goes even deeper than that. Roderick himself is totally convinced the house is alive. He thinks its atmosphere is evil, that it's actively shaping his family's fate. At this point, the line between his own paranoia and the real world has just completely dissolved. So, here's the crucial takeaway. These 3 falls, the house, the family, the mind, they aren't separate things happening. Not at all. Poe masterfully weaves them together into one single symbiotic catastrophe. The decay of one is the decay of all of them. Just think about that final scene for a second. Roderick's mind finally shatters when he confesses he buried his sister alive. That's the psychological fall. Right then, Madeline, who is basically his guilt made real, bursts in and pulls him down with her. That's the familial fall. And as they both die on the floor, the entire house splits apart and collapses into the tarn. The literal fall. See? It's all one single terrifying event. So let's just lay it all out, nice and clear. The fall of the House of Usher refers to the literal level, the physical mansion collapsing. Then you've got the familial level, the family line going extinct. And finally, the psychological level, Roderick's mind descending into madness. It isn't just one of these things. It's all three of them perfectly intertwined happening all at once. So in the end, it all comes back to that one crack the narrator sees at the very beginning. That one little fissure symbolizes everything. It's the physical flaw in the house's foundation, it's the genetic flaw in this isolated family, and it's the fatal fracture in Roderick's mind. And when one of them finally gives way, they all come crashing down, completely erasing the name Usher and its dark history from the face of the earth. And all of this leaves us with the story's great, big, unanswered question. What really caused the fall? Was it the house itself? Was it some evil force in the building that destroyed the family? Or was the family's own darkness, their own corruption, so powerful that it physically tore their home apart from the inside out? It's a classic chicken or the egg problem, and of course, Poe never gives us the answer, leaving that chilling mystery to haunt us long after the story is over.